Okay, so we're going to do some restorative practice just to put the day behind us, put the stresses of the day behind us, and to just spend an hour in relaxation mode, which is a nice way to spend an hour, isn't it? So just have a bit of extra cushioning. So a blanket on top of your mat is always appreciated, just to make it feel a little bit more like bed. Have a bolster or some cushions for underneath your knees. Have a folded blanket evenly folded for underneath your head, and then a couple of blocks for underneath your feet. If you've got an eye pillow or something to cover your eyes with, that's always good, just to help you to relax a little bit further. And get yourself a blanket if you need it, if it's cold, so that you're not going to be cold during your practice, because that is the worst way to relax. So warmth, comfort, and quietness. And dark, if you can make it dark. So if you can't make it dark in your room, then cover your eyes with something if you can. If you can't, then just close your eyes. So just make sure that you've got enough room to stretch out, and just bring yourself down onto the floor. So I always find that these first couple of minutes just relaxing on the floor are genuinely the nicest couple of minutes of the day. Just finally letting go, relaxing on the straight line of the floor. So close your eyes if you haven't covered them over, and just spend a moment or two just to establish your comfort. Focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate in breaths and deliberate out breaths. Gently release into the floor. Just focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Just feeling the bolster underneath your knees, blocks from underneath your feet. Just observe where the physical body makes contact with the ground and with the equipment. Draw your attention into the soles of the feet. So direct your attention into the soles of the feet so that the skin and the flesh and the muscle becomes tingly with consciousness. Drawing your attention into the underside of the foot. And then consciously relax the sole of the foot. Relaxing the soles of the feet. And draw your attention to the top of the foot. So that the skin of the top of the feet just begins to tingle with consciousness. And then consciously relax the top of the foot. So remember, if you feel uncomfortable, just adjust for comfort. So this isn't necessarily a test of endurance and stillness. Move if you need, but relax into the floor. Relaxing the tops of the feet, just letting the feet completely let go. And then draw your attention into the shins, into the skin of the shins, into the muscle, into the bone. Drawing your focus into the shin skin and the muscle. And then allow the fronts of the shins to sink into the bed of the calf muscle. And the shins sink into bolster and into the floor. Relaxing the shin skin and the muscle. Relaxing the tension around the bone. your focus into the fronts of the thighs. Just be conscious of the skin and the muscle and the bone. Drawing your attention into the thighs so that the thigh skin tingles with consciousness. And then allow the fronts of the shins to sink into the backs of the fronts of the thighs to sink into the backs of the thighs, allowing the legs to completely relax into the bolster and the blocks. Relaxing the legs from the hips into the thighs, into the knees, into the shins, into the ankles, into the top of the foot and into the lower foot. Draw your attention into the abdomen, and the pelvis. Just feeling a warm glow of consciousness building around the abdomen, around the belly button region. And then completely relax the abdomen and the pelvis, letting go of the muscles of the pelvis and the abdomen, allowing you to release into the floor. Draw your attention into the diaphragm region and the chest. Just focusing on the rise and the fall of the chest as you inhale and exhale. And then consciously relax the muscles around the rib cage, allowing the body to rest into the floor. And then relax the muscles around the chest. Drawing your focus into your shoulders and into your neck. Softening the muscles around the shoulders and the neck, and releasing into the arms and the upper arms and the forearms and the palms of the hands. Drawing your consciousness into your shoulders and your arms and your palms and your fingers, just completely relaxing the arms into the floor. Relax the back of the neck and the sides of the neck and the front of the neck. And then observe the feeling of the skin around the skull. And then imagine that the skin sliding down the face towards the jaw. Softening around the physical body, around the head and the face. Softening your jaw and your tongue. Just allowing the body to let go. Deep inhalation, filling the lungs to the top, and then completely release into the floor with the following exhalation. Continuing in that way for the next minute or two. Should never be any strain or any tension. And when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, and then bend your knees. Bring your feet onto the bolster, have the feet apart and the knees together just to rest your back into the floor. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. And then just roll over onto your right side for a moment. And then stretch out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just sit yourself in cross legs for a moment. Just observe the quite profound change in your energy just from laying in that first position for half an hour. Just how your energy changes. So we're going to do a side stretching pose, which is really nice if you've got stiff shoulders. So you'll want a bolster. If you've got an oblong bolster, this is better than a tubular bolster. If you don't, then a folded blanket is better than a tubular bolster, because a tubular bolster tends to be a little bit too fat. So if you don't have an oblong bolster like this, which is softer, then get your folded blanket and fold it up so that it's kind of a big wedge, and then that is going to come into the armpit chest region. So you're just going to, so you need a block for your head, and you're going to sit on your side, so sit on your right side to start off with, and then you lengthen out this right side as you lengthen yourself along the bolster. So the bolster is just going to be in the, or the blanket is going to be in the armpit chest. Your shoulder comes onto the floor, the hand just rests on the floor. You keep the knees bent, and then you just rest on your side for a moment. Just make sure that you feel comfortable, and then you stretch the top arm over your ear of the upper ear, and then just rest down into the floor. If there's stiffness in your shoulders and it's difficult to get your hand onto the floor, just put a block underneath the hand so that you can reach. So as you know, as we progress into our practice, I'll speak less and less so that you can just use the time to relax rather than having to listen. So just to establish comfort, and if it doesn't feel comfortable, just adjust your position until it does, and then breathe into both lungs evenly, and then just relax into the floor. Okay, bring the top arm back just to rest on the hip. And then push the elbow that's on the floor, push that into the floor, and then bring yourself up into cross legs. Just observe how that changes your energy. Bring energy into the armpit chest. And then we'll do the same position just on the other side. So keep all of the equipment where it is. Just sit on the opposite hip. And then keeping the knees bent, keeping the legs covered if you need it. Just stretching out along that left side. Have the block for your head. Just make sure that the bolster is in the right place, just in the armpit chest. Just rest your head down. And then extend the upper arm over your ear. Okay, bring the top arm back to rest on the top hip. Push your elbow into the floor, and then again just bring yourself up into the cross leg position. Just feel how energy is opened up. Okay, we're going to do, just bring your bolster or your cushions so it's long ways like this. We're going to do just a couple of reclining poses. Have a folded blanket for your head, and then we're just going to come into the heart pose. So this is just stretching yourself in a straight line, a little bit like Shavasana, but with the back supported over the bolster, just like this. So the legs straight out, and you've got the lift underneath your back. Again, just keeping yourself warm. Again, you can cover your eyes if you prefer. So just the lift underneath your back. If it's a bit uncomfortable in your back, then just adjust until it feels comfortable. It opens up the abdomen region, opens the diaphragm region, opens the collarbone, so that the front chest is really lifted and open. So it's just opening the shoulders in a different way to the previous pose. Just focus on normal breathing. just push your elbows into the floor. Just bring yourself up into cross leg position. Just observe your energy. Observe that feeling of profound energy around the chest and in the head and the arms and the legs. And then we're going to finish with our restorative surfboard pose. So we're going to lay on our front. If you've got a folded blanket to put under your shins, that's good. If you haven't, don't worry. You can just rest your legs in the floor. So you just got your bolster. You're going to lay on your front and then have a block for your head. Put your blanket on top of the block so that it's soft. And then you just come down onto your front so that your head is free of the end of the bolster. Just rest your head on the block and the blanket, and then rest your arms on the floor, just above your head, just resting on the floor. So just get yourself into a position that you are going to be able to completely release into. So the chin is free of the end of the bolster. So resting into the floor. So this is nice for the shoulders, for the neck. And I want you to just breathe into the back. So with the first in breath, breathe into the center of the shoulder blades and out into the armpits. And then a normal out breath. And then the second inhalation, breathe into the middle of the back and out into the rib cage. And then release into the floor with a normal out breath. And then the third breath, you breathe down into the bottom of the spine, into the and out into the hips. And then a normal inhalation. So breathing into the top of the back, then into the middle of the back, then into the bottom of the back, and cycling around those 3 breaths with normal exhalations. And then just complete the cycle of breathing that you are on, bringing the breath back to a normal rhythm. And then when you're ready, just bring your hands underneath your shoulders and then push yourself up into a seated position. Just sit back on your heels for a moment. Just observe the energy that you have released through your relaxation, restorative poses. Just observing that lightness of your energy. And then just sit yourself into a cross-leg position, just sitting back on your bolster or your lift. And then just bring your hands into Namaste. Draw your breath in through your nose and down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this evening, that good, positive, healthy flow, clean energy that the relaxation, restorative poses bring to the body and the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment or two just observing and acknowledging the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then very gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you've really lifted your energy and you've given yourself just some really deep, quiet energy so you can enjoy your evening, and you should sleep really well after that as well. So thank you very much for joining me.